you can work twice as hard. And while there are going to be many people out there in that world that glide by on a cloud doing nothing and getting everything, that doesn't mean anything. You have to figure it out, and you have to work twice as hard, 3 times, 4 times as hard.
Hey guys, welcome back to Future News Network. Today we have Tim Pool discussing the shocking news that the Democrats are now 1/3 socialist. 1/3 socialist. Absolutely shocking information, crazy stuff. We're going to get into it. We're going to take a look at what Tim Pool has to say. He's got a lot to rant about it. I make 2 videos a day, guys. If you like them, please hit him with a like and subscribe. And we're going to check out what he has to say.
As a third of Democrats now identify as Democratic Socialists. That's right, my friends. Young people are taking over the Democratic Party, and they're commies all the way. And here's the really bad news. The polling is apocalyptic. According to the Washington Post, regular people, voters, just in general, would not vote for a Democratic Socialist. So as Mamdani is burning down his city and people online are cheering for it because they're not smart enough to recognize the destruction of their political power, period.
The parties are getting very divided. The left is divided between your older Democrats and your younger socialist Democrats, and the Republican Party is they're pro-Israel older Republicans and your younger anti-Israel Republicans. The parties are really starting to diverge quite a bit.
I have to say it's looking I'm optimistic for the right, the moderates. It's a pretty wild thing to consider.
Moderates, yeah, that's not going to work. The winner takes it all.
But I got to wonder, who's in control of what and what's really going on? It may just be as simple as no one's in control of anything. But I look at this and I'm thinking, is this a Republican psyop? Are the Republicans propping up the commies intentionally so that they never lose again? Because if the Democratic Socialists encroach on the Democratic Party anymore, it's going to split the party in half, and the Republicans will never lose another election. Here's the
This isn't exactly the worst thing in the world.
reporting from CNN. They say a third of Democrats now identify as Democratic Socialists. Before we get started, my friends, we got a great sponsor for you. It is, let me pull this one up for you guys, AmericanFinancing.net/Tim. In today's uncertain economy, American Financing is helping families find a way out of the high interest trap. We're heading into the summer, but the economic in the 578, and they can't figure out a way out. And so let me tell you something interesting. I went to Venezuela in, I think it was 2014. And the interesting thing is the protesters were actually middle class. They were the people with tremendous success. And they were protesting because the government had built a system that made it impossible for them to succeed. So there's an interesting phenomenon that we see. When you get a large enough population below the poverty line, they will vote in socialist policies because they want.
Can't rig the game against people and expect them to vote for people rigging it against them.
If you get a large enough portion above the poverty line or at a certain level, they're not going to vote in these policies because they're succeeding. But it really has to do with the willingness and capability and competency. So the Democratic Party is right now, it's attracting low competency individuals. And
that's for sure.
And this is a fact. You may get offended by it. You may say, Tim, how dare you? You think.
Well, because it sounds nice. Socialism sounds nice. No, I'm not the first guy to say that, but I mean, come on. It's free stuff. Everybody gets along. Everybody's the same. There's no differences amongst people. It's all just gobbledygook.
We're low competency. No, this is a mathematic fact. What we see in the data is that people with advanced degrees who don't make money vote for socialists. They blame the system for why they can't succeed when the reality is they're low competency or they're ideologically motivated. To put it simply, your degree in folklore and mythology ain't paying the bills. And if you went to a university for a degree that doesn't generate revenue and has no real value, you're pissed off. Guys, I like to describe it like this. So I go to a guy's house and I knock on the door and I say, I'm going to mow your lawn for $15. And maybe these days you'd say $20 or $30. And the guy says, okay, deal. All right, so After about an hour or two, I go back to the house, knock on the door, and I say, that'll be $30. And the man looks at his lawn and it is not mowed at all. And he says, brother, you didn't mow my lawn. And I respond, whoa, hold on a minute. And I point to his neighbor's house. Look, I did all that work. And he says, yeah, that's not my house. You didn't do anything for me. I'm not giving you money.
Should go demand the money from the other guy that you didn't make the deal with to pay you, probably at a discount, because you didn't have a formal arrangement with him initially.
What happens is, if this person says, I did the work and I deserve the money anyway, that's socialism, that's communism. That's what we see. And the homeowner says, I'm not going to give you money for doing something that did not benefit me. It's my money. See, this is one of the biggest problems we have today. I see it all the time in business. Yo, it's remarkable. When I'll be negotiating with someone for like a contract or whatever, and they'll go like, I think you should pay me more. And I'll go, okay, well, I'm not gonna. And they're gonna be like, well, you make so much money. But listen, it's trade, okay? I love using my little Wolf box air duster as my example in all this. Why should I just give this to you? It's mine. I work.
You shouldn't have to give that away, Tim. You can keep that. I'm not going to take it from you.
I do work. I sell products. I make money. Why would I just give you money? And what these people don't understand is, I tell you this, many of these people, even conservatives, seem to think that companies have infinite money. They don't understand that a company has ingestion. They've got accounts receivable. Money has to come in for money to go out.
It is true. Everybody thinks everybody else got money but them. I mean, most people play it off like they got more money than they do. You know, it's kind of the name of the game.
What I find with most of these socialists when you try and talk to them is they think corporations have infinite money.
Or they capitalize on the fact that they don't have any money. They'll use that as their leverage. I don't have any money. I couldn't do that. It's a good way to stay cheap. Say, oh, I'm poor. If you ever make any money, never tell anybody.
They don't understand the law. They don't understand the legalities. Okay, let me give you one that's really fun, really fun. You ready for this one, commies? I am not legally allowed to pay you above market. Congratulations. Those are your laws. No, hold on.
Well, they'd see that as all right because their primary problem is jealousy of what other people have. So if everybody has the same stuff and the same stuff, not same opportunity, same stuff. If everybody had the same stuff, a lot of those people would be happy.
There's a little leeway here. But if I hired a janitor and I paid him $200,000 a year, I'm going to get audited and they're going to come after me. You know why? They're going to say, it makes no sense for your company to pay someone double or triple the market rate.
Well, I mean, you could pay him whatever. Maybe he's the best janitor ever. No, you could pay him that if you wanted. Maybe he's been there for 20 years and he does it all by himself and it's a huge building and he found out a great way to do it, or he just works his ass off. You know, Tim, maybe you should pay your staff a little better.
What are you actually doing? Now, there are certain jobs where you can pay above market. Let's say you wanted a producer, and there's a typical salary range for video producers between like $80,000 and $100,000. Like, it's a big job, right? Let's say you hire someone at $150,000. They're probably not going to pressure you on that one. You're going to say, listen, this is the best video producer we've ever seen. I mean, this guy's just turning things to gold. But again, if you hire like a groundskeeper and you pay him $500,000 a year, you're going to get in trouble. They're going to come to you and they're going to say, this is a discrepancy. Explain to us why your groundskeeper is getting paid $500,000.
Well, that's not right either. Maybe you have a multi-million-dollar estate and it takes a lot to do, you know, like this is kind of out of touch. I don't know if you've ever been, I do mansion reviews and whatnot, and I go to those places and like, yeah, you would need to have landscapers making a lot of money to maintain some of these places. You got huge bushes, huge trees, whatnot. You got to replant. Plants die. It ain't cheap getting all them materials or mulch or whatnot. You know, sometimes these people do deserve a lot more money than they're making.
$1,000. And you know what the reality is? You usually can't. And they're going to make arguments that you are falsely filing business and this person must be doing something else off the books. So it's like in those shows where the cop There'll be like a police officer, and he's got a convertible like Ferrari or whatever. And they're like, how do you own a Ferrari on like an $80,000 a year salary? And it's like, uh-oh.
None of your business.
Something does not add up. And so the assumption you often get, because we've had to deal with this stuff, is they'll ask you the question like, I'll put it this way. The presumption is if you have someone who's getting paid double market value, that money is for something else you are not tracking. And there's going to be the presumption of illicit activity. And the IRS is going to come take a gander. They're going to try and figure that out. Usually, though, as long as you're paying your taxes, they kind of just let it go. But understand, the government wants its cut, and they're not letting you play games. Now, these commies don't understand this. They say things like, there was one post I saw on Reddit, and they're like, if everybody woke up tomorrow and all the billionaires were gone, regular people will still go to work, stores will still have bread, and if tomorrow everyone woke up and the workers were gone, there would be nothing. Think about that for a minute. And you're like...
Yeah, but like workers would go to work if they didn't have wages that were getting paid by millionaires or billionaires. Like there's different levels to every business. I mean, you got up to like the bare necessities or like the bare materials of most things. I mean, who's bringing in the copper? Who's bringing in iron? Who's bringing in, I don't know, cocoa beans across the ocean on freighters, multi-million-dollar freighters? Somebody has to make a bunch of money to do that. You can't have vast, big things without vast, big millionaires and billionaires.
Just trying to explain to these people who've never read a book or have any real-world experience. Guys, if you are suggesting that if 99% of people disappeared, there'd be no workers, you're just telling me if no humans are there, nothing happens in human society. There's nothing profound about that. And if you say that the billionaires, for which there's a couple thousand in the world, disappeared, nobody would notice because you're talking about scale of... Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. No, if you went to Africa and, they don't have millionaires, billionaires, and they don't produce well for themselves and have enough food or whatnot. A lot of places in Africa, maybe I'm painting a broad brush, but some places in Africa, like maybe they could use some millionaires, billionaires, like live in there and give jobs and opportunities to those people. Make, more room, more at the top, more goes down to the bottom, little trickle down economics. I don't like corporatism, obviously, and I don't like how the wages have gone down, and I don't like how we're not getting stock in our companies that we work for many, many years. There's a lot wrong with that. We should have more stake and more possession of the places that we work for, but you can't get rid of the billionaires and millionaires. It's just not practical.
But they don't understand it. They're like, if the workers are gone, who's going to make the bread? Guys, who's going to buy the bread? That's the point. It's humanity. There's very few billionaires. The truth is, you get rid of the billionaires, not all of them, but many of them, they're running industries. That's just it. Not all of them are the best people in the world, the smartest people in the world, but they're smarter than you. Guys,
Well, I don't know about... I mean, some of them are smarter. Some of them delegate well. If there's something that you can delegate well to other people to take care of while you collect a paycheck, that's most of your top earners. They know how to spread their work around to other people.
To these commies, if you were smart enough...
But they pay those people quite well as well.
...to be a billionaire, you would be. That's just it, okay? If I was smart enough to be a billionaire, I would be. I have reached the pinnacle of what my competency and intelligence...
I don't know. That's kind of a funny one, right? Can you climb up to billionaire still? Like, I mean, think of the major billionaires that were they rags to riches billionaires? I mean, you think back to the past, there was some, like Rockefeller and J.P. Morgan and, Daniel Day-Lewis and, what's that movie with the oil? That one. Those were self-made millionaires turned billionaires. I don't know if that's really popping up as much as it used to.
Can muster up. Here I am. I've done pretty well. I say this quite a bit. There are many factors in what determines whether you'll be successful or not. Talent is one of them. Luck is another one. There's natural charisma, and there's perseverance, work ethic. So I always say this. If I worked 40 hours a week, my net worth would probably be in the few millions. But I work double that. And so what I lack in talent and intelligence, I make up for in work ethic. I know I'm not as good at podcasting as some of the biggest podcasts in the world. I know that I'm unwilling to do certain things in content that many of these other bigger podcasts are willing to do for ideological reasons. So I know that if I want to reach this level, I have to work twice as hard as everybody else. And there's no shame in that. There's, in fact, nothing but dignity and honor in that.
Well, aren't you just patting yourself on the back, Tim? I think you do a great job. But, yeah, I don't know. You got to have talent. Got to have something. Got to have something. Work without talent is a lot of work.
And you know what? I'll do this. I'll throw this out because I did a segment just a moment ago on Japan. Is what I love about shows like Naruto or Black Clover. For those that aren't familiar, I'll ignore the esoteric anime
We're gonna
stuff.
skip the anime talk.
You'll see with a lot of these shows throughout the 2000s, we need these messages for kids. These are the stories that young men need to hear. Black Clover, great show. All right, let me explain. It's a world of magic. At a certain age, people go to the academy, they get a magic grimoire.
We're nerding out.
You'll never amount to anything. So what does he do? He trains his body as hard as he possibly can and becomes so physically strong that he crushes his enemies. And there's a great scene, very early on in the show. Don't get me wrong, like I get it later in the show, he gets anti-magic and whatever. The point is, he's in this like trial to become a government agent, right? A knight. And they're like, the dude's got no magic. What's he gonna do? And so he's being mocked by this arrogant guy. And then it's this great scene where he just burst of speed right at the guy and then slams him with his sword, crushing him into the ground, defeating him without using magic. I don't care if you're like, magic is dumb and anime is stupid. The message that we then give to a young kid is, you might not be the most attractive, the tallest, the smartest, but you can still be the strongest. You can work twice as hard. And while there are going to be many people out there in that world that glide by on a cloud doing nothing and getting everything, that doesn't mean anything.
You tell him, Tim.
You have to figure it out, and you have to work twice as hard, 3 times, 4 times as hard, and you can figure it out. And you know what? Even then, maybe you'll never be a millionaire. Maybe you'll never make 6 figures. Maybe you are as dumb as a box of rocks.
What?
But you work double shifts, twice as hard, and you found a good living because you were willing to do what you had to do to maximize your success.
All right, Tim, I think we get the point on that one. What do you guys think? What do you think? I mean, it kind of trailed off there a little bit. It's mostly about how Democrats now identify as socialists. 1/3 of them do. It's dividing their party. They might have a hard time winning elections with such different ideological beliefs. If you guys like my content, make 2 videos a day, guys. If you like them, please hit them with a like and a subscribe. This has been Future News Network, and I will see you in the next one.